Hey everyone, this is Lindsay from Perfectly Bookish 5 and I have a dilemma. So if you didn't watch my first video introducing myself, you're probably wondering what this is. I had eye surgery, still recovering, still healing, hence the eye patch. But I have a dilemma and I want to get your opinions. In October, I am going to see Cassandra Clare on tour. Her tour is for Sword Catcher. I was very lucky and I won an arc from Shelf Awareness, and I have already read the book. A sword catcher is someone who steps in for the prince or someone of royalty in case there are any dangers, but the people don't know that it is really not the prince. There is a boy named Kel. When he is very young, he gets chosen to be the sword catcher. Connor, the prince, does seem to give Kel a choice, and Kel accepts. So he grows up living in the castle, living right beside Connor. They share the same room. He has a bed right next to the prince, and he learns how to defend the prince. And as they grow up, things become more difficult, as it would for a prince, having to make more important decisions, being involved in a lot of the political aspects of what it takes to rule a kingdom and become king. There are some different street gangs, and there are some secrets between these street gangs and the royalty, and Kel is getting caught up in them. He gets kidnapped one night and he is given an offer. Kel feels very loyal to the kingdom because they have done so much for him. He was living in an orphanage before he became the sword catcher. And sorry, I didn't say before, but the way that the people don't know that it isn't really the prince, there is a necklace that has some magic that when Kel wears it, he kind of is able to trick the people into thinking that he is truly the prince. They do their best job trying to find a sword catcher that looks the most like the person they are protecting, but the amulet, the necklace, is the final piece that helps kind of fool all the people. Then we have Lynn Caster. She is someone who practices medicine, but unfortunately her ancestors have magic ties that were banned many years ago, so her practice is frowned upon. Even though she can heal people, make them feel better, some of the ways that they used are not liked by other commoners. The kingdom has their own specific person that helps them in these ways, and actually Lynn is a relative to the person in the castle, but Lynn lost her parents when she was young. She has a brother, but the person she is related to in the castle didn't want to take them in. He said he had such strong duties for the castle that he wouldn't be able to watch over the kids. It is also frowned upon that Lynn is a woman, even though she is one of the best masters of her craft. Eventually the sword catcher gets hurt and Lynn gets called to secretly heal him at the castle, and that is where Lynn and Kel paths cross. Connor the prince is also getting expected to marry soon. It's not mandatory. You choose to marry an opposite sex, same sex, or just be a lone ruler, but the lone ruler part is frowned upon because as royalty you can make connections to help better all the politics with the other kingdoms around you. And there is also some controversy there, and it plays a big part into the controversy in the book as a whole. So with all this crazy stuff going on with the street gangs, with Connor the prince having his own secrets, with the politics of the kingdom, Kel is trying his best to protect Connor, because not only is he the sword catcher, Connor is one of his, if not his, best friends. And Lynn is also dealing with her own stuff, also getting tied into the street gang madness, and she has some secrets of her own. Lynn has also tried to save her best friend who has the same disease that killed her father so young, so she really wants to use all her abilities to save her friend. Kinda seems like I just talked in a circle a little bit, but this is a really good book for Cassandra's debut adult novel, and I definitely recommend that you pick it up. You're probably asking, Lindsay, you've been talking this whole time, but you haven't said what your dilemma is. My dilemma is that I will be getting a book of Swordcatcher to get signed at the event, but you are also allowed to bring one more book to get signed. Swordcatcher will be personalized, the other book will just be signed, and I don't know which book to bring. I was lucky enough to meet Cassandra back in, 2015 or 2016, when she came to Illinois for BookCon, the one and only time BookCon was somewhere other than New York. That was my very first book signing ever, and my friends and I learned to really dive into the rules on books that can be brought for book signings. We read that you had to purchase a book if you want something signed in Cassandra's line, and we were a little confused about being able to bring our own books. One out of the three of us brought a book to be signed, and just so she was able to get signed. We were towards the end of the line, and they were running out of books to sell, so that is how my one friend got away with that. But if we did have other books, she would have signed them as well. So always read the rules and restrictions of what you can and cannot bring to a signing, because it will help you out. I don't really have a lot of books signed by Cassandra, so I have a lot to choose from. I do have some special editions of her books where it came, well, pre-signed or stamped, shall we say. And the book that I got signed at BookCon was Clockwork Angel, and it was the edition where you connect the spines and they make a picture. So somehow I narrowed it down to a few selections, and I want you to help me pick which one I'm going to bring. I thought it would be cool to bring the arc of Swordcatcher. Seeing as I read it, tabbed it, you could see that, have some thoughts on it. And I just think having an arc of one of her books is really special, because I believe, maybe they're not, but I believe they're hard to come by, and I think it would be cool to have an arc signed by Cassandra, especially for the one for the event. But I don't know if that's like weird, because I'm getting the actual book there, but that is why this is one of my options. Clockwork Angel would have been another option for me, but I got the other cover signed at BookCon, so I don't know if I'd want to bring that, because Clockwork Angel is one of my favorites that I have ever read by Cassandra, so it holds a special place in my heart. But it's hard because I have the one edition signed of it, so I feel like I should branch out. That's why I didn't pull the book down, because I didn't know I was going to talk about it. But the original cover, top hat, will for Clockwork Angel, I guess, I'm throwing that in as an option. Then I have City of Bones. I did not actually read this copy. When I read The Infernal Devices and the Mortal Instruments, I read all library copies. So this book isn't special like, oh my gosh, this was the copy that I first read. It's just, again, one of the books that really made me fall in love with Cassandra Clare's worlds. But this is the book that kicked off the Mortal Instruments, and when I do get books signed, I really like having that first copy of a series signed. And then I have this special edition of City of Bones, and again, being just that it's one of the kickoffs of the Shadowhunter world, and it's this beautiful, gorgeous edition. I thought it would be cool to have this one signed. I was really happy I found this at my local half-price books. Like, who would get rid of this? But yeah, this is another option that I have. So let's pretend the original cover of Clockwork Angel is here too. But let me know what book that you think I should take to the signing, or if you have opinions on any other of her shadow hunter novels that you would bring as well, because I have them, but this is just kind of what I narrowed down to. So I want to hear your opinion. What would you bring if you were me, or if you are going to one of her signing events on this tour? Let me know, what book are you bringing?